I'm a huge fan of Shelby American because I think they are doing exactly what I want to see, modern muscle cars be like. The old school V8, you have a supercharger in here. Now we have the brand new 2025 Shelby GT350, which looks like a beast. I think it looks better than the Dark Horse. I'm going to show you how you can trim this, the spec on the website, and I'm also going to let you know, maybe I can come to a conclusion which spec I would choose for this car. So we're going to have a look at this in Photoshop, of course, as well, and talk about some of the spec and tech before we jump in to Photoshop from this article from Car and Driver. So Shelby American revives the GT350 name for an 810 horsepower beast. Shelby American revealed a new GT350 and a GT350R. Similar, the same nameplates like we had before, but these are completely different beasts. So you have a supercharged 5-liter V8 making 810 horsepower, 830 plus horsepower respectively. The GT350R is a street-legal track toy featuring plenty of carbon fiber, aggressive aerodynamics, and an integrated roll cage as well. Probably not the one I would go for. I would go for the more civilized version here. The latest GT350 isn't built by Ford, but it gets Ford powertrain warranty and will be sold through the brand's dealers. The supercharged GT350 starts at $109,900, basically $110,000, a dollar less than that. So you have a 5-liter V8, which has been cranked up to 500 ponies in the Mustang Dark Horse to a whopping 810 horsepower in the GT350. And as I said, this is why I love Shelby, because there are not a lot of car companies left like this. And I understand why you need to pay a premium for $110,000 is a lot of money. But at the same time, you get a lot of car. You get a lot of old school muscle car with this vehicle. And there really isn't a lot of choices these days. I can't really think about any other choice when it comes to a proper modern muscle car than the Ford Mustang. Even the base, not the base, but the 5-liter Mustang that we have in 2025 is basically still the last remaining sort of muscle car or pony car. So you have the GT350 by Shelby American, also features a revised suspension, a new exhaust, and a meaner mug with plenty of intakes and grills. You have a big wing. It protrudes from the trunk lid. You also have a brand new trunk lid here, which I think looks so good. This is one of these trunk lids that I want to go and just feel the chamfers on the top and feel the chamfer on the bottom. It looks so good. Shelby American will also be offering a GT350 with 480 horsepower without the supercharger that takes it up to 810. So the supercharger here just brings almost double the power to the GT350, which is insane to think about. Now you can have it with both a manual or an automatic. Personally, I would 110% go, of course, with a manual transmission for this. The GT350R comes exclusively with a 6-speed manual gearbox and features carbon fiber interior tub, optional carbon fiber racing seats with harnesses, and other trim fashioned from the same material, meaning carbon fiber. So Shelby American will sell 562 GT350s for 2025, and the number for this, they're going back to the original 1965 GT350s, where they were also built 562, and the GT350 with the supercharger starting price is set $110,000. They're going to start building this beast second quarter of this year, and sales will be conducted through Ford dealerships, which means that you still have the powertrain warranty up to 36,000 miles, which is fantastic when you're spending this much money on a car. So only 36 GT350Rs will be built, and that also goes back to 1965's production numbers. The track-ready version will come in white, but it is available with different stripes and graphic packages. You can see that right here. And if I were to get the GT350R, I would 100% go with these graphics, because I think it looks very nice and also brings in some history and some heritage into the design graphic packages that we have here. So the official website here, celebrating 60 years of history, the Shelby GT350 returns with timeless performance. I think it looks stunning in red with the white stripes here. Probably the spec that I would go for, but it also, then you see this, and it also looks very nice. I want to hear your opinion. Which spec would you choose here? You have performance, features, all here. You have 20-inch wheels, wide wheels in the rear, 11 inches wide in the rear. Interior options, you can see those right here. Exterior features, we have all the new features that separates this from the regular Mustang, and you also have this ducktail, of course, and Le Mans style striping. Looking at the specs down here, I want to show you this. So we have a silver, probably not the one I would pick with the black stripes. It just looks too anonymous, and it doesn't feel like a special Mustang when you have it in silver. Normally, I'm a fan of black cars because it just looks cool. But the thing about this, if you have a black car, you can't really see the lines in the car because it's so dark. You can't appreciate the design. So I would not go with either the silver or the black. The white one, it looks a little better, but I'm not a huge fan of the blue stripes here. Black stripes on a red car looks great. Also, the blue with the white stripes, and then you have this sort of very gunmetal-like with the silver stripes. But as I said, personally, I would go with this spec right here. The red one with the white stripes, I think it looks stunning. You can click on these buttons to see exactly the upgrades for every single detail here on the car, looking very cool. And I have a lot of respect for Shelby for actually building this and putting this out. In today's world. It looks very, very nice. Just a quick heads up before we jump into Photoshop. If you're interested in learning design sketching with me, my 11-hour online class is now only $47, and you'll learn everything from what basics tools to use, ideation sketching, rendering, car design sketching, industrial design sketching, and much more. I'm also going to go over my 2 design portfolios page by page to show you what a portfolio looks like that got me into a master's in automotive design in Italy. Check it out at analogdesignerpropack.com, linked down below. So let's jump into Photoshop here and let's have a look at this design. What I love about this shape is just a small, it doesn't feel like, you know, an aftermarket car when you look at the changes that Shelby has done here. You have a new hood, but this looks like a Ford standard hood to me. This looks like it came straight from Ford factory like this. And I don't think Ford is going to build their own GT350s. I thought they would, but I guess not. Now that they're selling this through the Shelby Ford dealerships. And what I love about the new Mustang in general is that this became a lot more muscle car. And what I mean by that is we have a lot of horizontal lines, and we have this key line, starting point, up top right here. And this is what we want to see. Underneath here is where you want to have the key graphics for the front end. One single line. Underneath, you can do whatever you want, and that is very muscle car-y. This front dip right here looks still a little too sports car-ish for me, but the good news is we have more horizontal lines right here in the bottom as well, and I like these wings that stick up in the lower section as well. It looks like we have a GT350 lip spoiler down here. Very, very subtle changes for this car that makes a big difference, specifically when we look at the rear end. This ducktail right here, this trunk, is something that if I were to buy a standard stock Mustang today, I wish Ford had an option to include this in their options list, to have this ducktail in the back, because that is something that I would definitely get for my Mustang. This looks absolutely stunning with this big wing in the back, 2 chamfers, just like this. We have the taillights here following the design, the shape of the chamfer itself, and we have a housing for everything. The framing line down here that then goes up here and frames it in the ducktail up top. This also creates a clear definition of the bumper in this area, and we have a nice diffuser in the lower section as well. That doesn't feel like, to me, it doesn't feel like it's too exaggerated. It doesn't stick up too much. We want the rear diffuser to stick up a little bit further than the front end graphics do here with the black pieces, because in the back we want to remove some of this mass, and I think they're doing it very nicely with the new Mustang in general, and specifically here with the new exhaust pipes sticking out here. 4 bazooka pipes down here at the bottom, looking very, very cool. Not sure if I would keep this GT350 logo down here. The font doesn't really do it for me. I would probably remove that, but I would definitely keep this specific spec. And also, of course, keep the stripes on here, the white stripes on the red, beautiful red body. Now, looking at the interior, I couldn't find an interior pic of the specifically the GT350. So this one right here is from the Dark Horse. And this is where the biggest letdown of the new Mustang happens for me. We have dual screens. Thankfully, this is not the base. I'm going to show you the base, what that looks like in a brand new 2025 Mustang. But it's not the worst integration. But this being a muscle car, like, I don't want to have these screens, specifically not in a car like this. I want to have it be separated and give the screen less attention, meaning shrink it down. Maybe 8 inches is fine. We don't need this big screen right here. And then of course I want to have a nice housing with some, in this case I would prefer honestly to have analog gauges for the new Mustang. I would pay extra if that was an option. If Ford said, yes, you can have old school analog clusters if you want to, I mean, you just got to pay extra. I would definitely do that here in this case. But thankfully, we still have a manual transmission here. But this is if I had an award for, I'm sorry Ford, but the worst interior design of 2024 or 2023, whenever this Mustang came out, I'm going to have to say it's going to go to Ford, because this is one of the, it's going to sound pretty harsh, but this is one of the laziest interior designs I think I have ever laid my eyes on, because these just look like 2 iPads, like literally 2 pads, digital displays on top of the dash that has zero, they are in different angles as well. So this one is tilted a little bit this way towards the driver. This one sits right in front of the driver, and I'm not sure if they're different sizes. Maybe both of them are 12.3 inches here in size, but look at the integration of the back piece here as well. Nothing follows anything. It's like I don't understand what Ford did with the base interiors of the new Mustangs, but this is what we get today. A better solution here would be maybe save a little bit more money and just create, the old school interior. I would have much rather preferred them to take the interior from the 2022 Mustang. Still had a digital gauge cluster, but it still had a much better flow and integration than what we have here. But talking about the Shelby GT350, we're not going to see a lot of them. They're only been 562 or something like that for this year. So maybe you see one every now and then. And if I do, the key thing I'm going to do is just listen to that beautiful exhaust and a supercharger connected to the V8, because that is a sound that we rarely hear anymore today.